ado, let's talk about the first piece. So we know we had a lot of questions, whether it's by the poolside when we're watching our kids swim, or in the survey that we had asked about sort of what's this officiating journey and how does it work. So we thought just to, before we sort of answer the rest of the questions, we take a few minutes and just walk through that journey in a brief overview. So I'm going to hand it off. I'm going to share my screen. And then I'll ask Kathy to walk us through a few of those points, if that's okay, Kathy.
Fine, absolutely fine. So the other thing we should probably say are these slides. So this slide and the next two that I'm just going to walk you through are actually available on the website. And I believe Stephanie is going to show you how to navigate to find out where these particular slides are. So that will always help you. And there's more information than what we're actually going to be showing you here. So basically, I mean, here you are, this is your pool deck. And essentially you can see a lot of people on deck. All of these people are volunteers. All of these people are officials. So you can see that right off the bat, unlike hockey or soccer or some other sports, you needed a lot of officials on deck to make a meet happen, even one session of a meet happen. So I know it looks like a lot of people. There's a lot of different positions, and each of these positions, just right off the bat, require a clinic. Okay, a clinic to take before you can actually work in the role of the position on deck. Okay, essentially that's really all I wanted to say about this slide. You can see that there are some, oh actually, sorry, can you please go back there, Steph? You can see that there's some position in the top left there. There's a few positions that are in the office. You know, you've got your chief finish judge, chief judge electronics, and a recorder score. Meet manager, that person at the top, kind of in the middle to the right, often is in the office, but also on deck as well. Most of these other positions are largely on deck. The clerk of course, that's in the far right, that's obviously another clinic that you need to take to be the clerk of course. That role, you're spending a lot of time in the office, on deck, and interacting with a lot of different people, including the referee sometimes on deck. Okay, so that's really all I wanted to say. Lots of positions, most positions need to have a clinic ahead of time. Okay, so we talked about, you know, as we were introducing ourselves, you heard that some people were level 2, some people were level 3, some were 5. So basically there are 5 levels, 1 to 5. The amount of clinics it takes to work up changes from level to level, but essentially what I really wanted to sort of point out on this slide is, of those 5 levels, basically if you look at the arrow and then you look at the blue boxes below that, there's required clinics. Okay, and this shows you the clinics that are required for each of the different levels that you attain. Essentially, level 1, all you need is your intro to swimming officiating clinic. That's it. Once you've done that clinic, often that clinic is associated also with the safety marshal clinic. You are a level 1 official. Congratulations. You can work on deck as a timekeeper. Okay. Now for the level 2, you need the inspector of turns, judge of stroke clinic, plus 1 other clinic. So a total of 3 clinics. You've already got the intro clinic under your belt. The strokes and turns clinic you need to take, 1 other clinic, doesn't matter which one it is. And then you need experience on deck in those roles to get your level 2. Okay. There are, as you saw on that first slide, quite a few different clinics, like quite a few different positions, clinic per each of those positions. So when you get to a level 2, this is where you can kind of branch out. Apart from that strokes and turns clinic that you need to take, you can take any of the other position clinics except for referee. So you can, you know, if you decide you like to be in the office, you can take one of those office positions as a clinic that you choose to take. If you prefer to be on deck, you can take a clinic for one of the positions on deck. Doesn't really matter. This is where you can sort of go, you know, where you want to go to. Level 3 is a little bit different, because now with level 3, you basically have to do all of those different clinics except for one. And then you need to get experience on deck for each of those different clinics to achieve your level 3. The biggest jump is literally really between level 2 and level 3 in terms of the amount of work and clinics and time on deck that you need to go from level 2 to level 3. And then level 4s and level 5s are basically taking a referee clinic and time on deck again in the role as a referee, getting experience. Okay. So basically, again, you've got your certification journey, your levels in the arrow, the required clinics for each of those are in the blue boxes, and then the roles that you can play for each of those different levels associated with the clinics is in that bottom, sort of green blocks there. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next slide, please.
Yes.
So basically, this is, again, just going into a little bit more detail about basically what I told you in the clinic before, or in the slide before. You've got your different levels. And of course, with your different levels, you get a pin, a different color pin for each of the different levels that you attain, which is always a fun thing to do. And you wear that on your shirt or on a badge when you get a badge. So this just basically goes into a little bit more detail. So I really don't want to sort of spend a lot of time on this slide because I sort of went through a little bit more details in the one before, but this gives you more specifics about, you know, each of the different requirements for each of the different levels. So one of the things that is good to get with your level 1, when we do clinics in class, for the timekeeping intro to swimming officiating, we have a card that we give you. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to do that recently with the virtual clinics that we've been doing, but you get this card, and the card is basically a picture of the card is on the right. It lists all of the clinics there, right? So as soon as you take a clinic, you get your name signed off on it. And then the right-hand column, basically, you need to do time on deck, get certain experience and sign-offs on deck. And so the right-hand column are basically the dates where you get sign-offs for your time on deck. Okay. So it's at some point in the future, hopefully we'll be able to be handing out those cards a little bit more than often. Just a few tips regarding official certification. This particular card is that it's always good to have that card with you, bring it with you, put it in the Ziploc bag. If you are with your swimmer, keep it in your swimmer's bag, or, you know, have your own backpack, keep it in your backpack so you always have it. So if you're helping at a swim meet, you've got it with you, you can get your sign off. That's basically all I really wanted to say about this.
Awesome.